Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible and often unsettling stories from ancient history, a tale found within Islamic scripture that speaks of giants, cowardice, and the true test of faith. We are talking about the Kaum Jabbarun, a race of colossal human beings who stood in the way of Prophet Musa Moses and his people entering the Promised Land. Now, who exactly were the Jabbarun? The name itself, *Jabbarun*, is a plural term meaning those who possess extraordinary strength, the cruel, or the tyrannical. These weren't just big men. Tradition tells us they were giants, often cited as reaching heights of up to 22 meters, that's nearly 72 feet. Imagine a person the size of a giant redwood. They were believed to be the descendants of the ancient Amalekites, remnants of the even older, massive Kanaan. Their home was the land of Canaan, known today as Palestine. This land was critically important because it was the territory Allah had promised to Bani Israil after their long suffering in Egyptian slavery. Our story really kicks off right after one of the greatest miracles in history, the parting of the Red Sea, which freed Musa and his followers from the clutches of Pharaoh. After that spectacular display of divine power, they journeyed toward Canaan, the land flowing with milk and honey. When they finally arrived at the borders of this promised territory, the command was clear: enter the land and take possession of it. But here's where the human element, specifically human fear, intervenes. Whispers about the residents of Canaan the Jabbarun began circulating among Bani Israil. Stories of their immense size, their overwhelming strength, and their cruel reputation spread like wildfire. Despite having witnessed the sea split in half just moments ago, their faith began to crumble. To settle the fear and gather information, Musa sent 12 chiefs, one from each tribe of Bani Israil, to scout the land. What these 12 men saw was truly horrifying. They returned not with confidence, but with sheer terror written all over their faces. The rumors were true. The inhabitants were monstrously large. They didn't just come back with stories, they brought proof, the most famous piece of evidence. A single bunch of grapes, but not just any grapes. This bunch was so heavy that it reportedly took 2 men just to carry it, suspended on a pole. And the individual grapes themselves were described as being the size of small melons. This demonstrated the phenomenal scale of the land and, by extension, the people who farmed it. Seeing this physical proof only solidified the fear of the majority. When Musa urged them to remember all his promise and march forward, the vast majority of Bani Israil flatly refused. They told Musa, essentially, "We won't go in until they leave. You and your Lord go fight them yourselves." This was a profound act of disobedience, fueled by cowardice and a stunning lack of gratitude. However, not everyone gave in to fear. Out of the 12 spies, Tumenusir bin Nun and Caleb bin Euphana stood firm. They passionately argued, urging their people to trust Allah's promise. They knew the Jabbarun were strong, but they insisted that with Allah's help, the seemingly impenetrable city gates would fall easily. But their words fell on deaf ears. Musa was heartbroken and deeply frustrated by his people's unwillingness to act. He turned to Allah and prayed, asking for separation from these rebellious and wicked people, and Allah answered. Because of their spineless fear and their direct disobedience, Bani Israil were immediately punished. They were forbidden from entering the Promised Land for 40 years. For 4 decades, they were forced to wander aimlessly in the barren desert wilderness, a condition known as ati. This punishment wasn't arbitrary, it was corrective. The 40 years served to strip away the weak, slavish mentality they had developed under Pharaoh's rule, allowing a new, courageous generation to rise. Despite the punishment, Allah didn't abandon them. He provided them with divine sustenance, *manna*, a sweet, honey-like food, and *sawa*, delicious quails, ensuring they survived the harsh desert conditions. It's a powerful lesson. The path to success, whether spiritual or worldly, is often blocked by challenges that seem insurmountable. Our own Jabbarun. The moment we let fear paralyze us, we risk losing the blessings and promises awaiting us. Bani Israil eventually did enter Canaan, but only after that fearful generation had passed away, led by Musa bin Nun, one of the two faithful spies. Interestingly, the story of the giants doesn't quite end there. Much later, when the descendants of Bani Israil finally confronted the Jabbarun, their great king was known as Jalut, or Goliath, the very giant that would be famously defeated by the young prophet David. The story of the Jabbarun is a stark reminder. Faith isn't just believing when things are easy. It's stepping forward when the obstacles are 72 feet tall.